Kate, and I'm coming to you with the weekly announcements. And this week, tomorrow, we have the open house, and that'll be at 7 o'clock at the Guy's Porch. Come, do some homework, have a snack, hang out with some friends. Hopefully, you don't distract too many people doing homework. And then following that, we have freshman groups at 9 o'clock at the Guys and the Girls House, and respectively, obviously. And if you're looking for a community or just a place to grow in your faith, you should definitely check that out if you're a freshman. And then on Friday, we have coffee hour from 8 to 11 at the Girls House. If you love coffee, you should definitely come. We also have tea and possibly like a breakfast snack, so you should definitely join us for that. And then we still have a chance to sign up for SWAT and lift groups. If you're interested in that or want to know more information about that, you should talk to like Jess, Travis, Jordan, anyone that you want to. They can tell you who to talk to for that. And then also we have the block party on Friday, which is so exciting. That is from 4 to 8 p.m. and it's going to be at CCH and all around CCH, I guess. We're going to have games, food, lots of fun, pretty much all the fun. So yeah, you should definitely come for that. And then we also have t-shirts for sale. They're $10 in the back. They're very comfortable and a pretty color, so you should get one of those also. And that's all for the events this week. We hope to see you there, and I hope that you have an awesome week. And goodbye.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to family night here at CCH, and we're super excited for this night and this time to be together. And um, man, we call this family night, and that's kind of like why we're set up in kind of our living room here. I love this. That's really what we desire tonight to feel like we're worshiping together as a family in our home. And tonight is a night to celebrate what God is doing and to share God's story written in your life and to share that with one another. And so earlier this week, we sent out some questions, but in case you need a reminder of what some of those things are, I just wanted to share those things to kind of maybe prime the pump, get you thinking about some things that maybe you want to share. And some of those questions were, how has God answered a prayer of yours recently? What struggle in your life has God been working through? How has God used engaging someone else, that, what we've been talking about for the last few weeks? How has God used engaging someone else as an opportunity to create a cool spiritual conversation? What's something cool that God's done during this season of COVID-19? Yeah, God's been working despite all that, amidst all that. How has God impacted your life or encouraged you since we've been able to be back together in spite of all that? So maybe it's something outside those questions too, and that's totally cool. We want to share that with one another. We just want to share the goodness, the faithfulness of God with each other tonight. That's what this is. And so be courageous. I want to encourage you to be bold and to share your story. If you're kind of on the fence about it, you're like, man, I think I might have something to share, but I don't know. Be courageous. Share something. God speaks powerfully, works powerfully through that. We believe that God is glorified when we do this, and that we're encouraged as His family when we share things together. So, how this works, to give us, the idea of how do we even make this happen. There's an open mic right here up front, and we just invite you to come have a seat and to share with us. There's going to be an on-deck space over here. There's a whole, several rows in a section. But use that, please. That helps things move a little more smoothly. So if you're like, I have something to share, but we're in the middle of a song or somebody else is sharing right now, go ahead and move over to that space so that you can come up and share and we can keep things moving. So as many people can share their story tonight as possible. With that in mind, also, be respectful of other people's time. Keep things to just a few minutes if you can. So that everybody that wants to share has a chance to share. And I want to remind us that we do live stream our services. And so if you're like, I'm about to get up and share something that maybe I don't want out there, if you want us to cut that out, we can make that happen. Just say, hi, Tim, when you sit down, and say, hi, Tim, would you mind muting me? We want to share those things, and we have some of our family that doesn't get to be here on Tuesday night, and we want to share things with them as well. So we hope that everybody doesn't do that. But if there's something that you want to share that's kind of sensitive and you want to stay in this room, by all means, we can make that happen. So to start out with, we're going to sing a couple of songs to kind of begin our time of celebration together and give you a chance to think a little bit and to prepare, and come on up to the on deck area during this time as well. But we're going to sing a couple of songs here. So if you want to, we want to invite you to stand or to sit. This is our living room. You can do whatever you feel like doing. If you all want to stand, that's wonderful. I'm also super excited. This is, since we're sharing things that we're excited about because we're a family, I'm excited my wife's joining us tonight. This is my wife, Carolyn, in case none of you have met her. Yeah, super excited about that. But we're going to sing a couple of songs together, and then we'll jump into some stories together. God, we praise you for the amazing things that you do in our lives. This night, bring glory to you and all that you have done as we share your story together. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Go ahead and have a seat. We're just going to leave the mic open for a little bit, and if you have a story that you want to share, just come on up, have a seat, and share with us.
All right, so I'm going to tell you all a little bit about my life because things have changed recently. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to start back in high school, and I met this girl. And that was cool because she was psychologically abusive. So she always made me question myself, made me doubt every decision and thought I had. That was great. So that gave me depression because I was in that relationship for 3 years, which was 3 years too many. But we're not going to talk about that. So that was awesome. So for a large portion of my life, I didn't particularly want to be alive. There were good times, obviously, but not enough. But so it made it really hard to just live with faith and just with God because I didn't want to live. So that was cool. So college, I tried to do things. I tried to find my happiness in people, and we all know how that works. So I just had a lot of trouble just giving my whole life to God. So last December, I bought a gun. I had some intent with it. Obviously, I didn't, which you all see. But after one particularly bad day, I just happened to wander in the main house, and I found Kim. And Kim made me talk to her, and honestly, kind of changed my life. She made me promise to talk to other people. So I did. I talked to my people, and I opened myself up and opened the door for God to help work in my life. And he immediately did. So that was awesome. And then a little bit later, Kim's baptism, we were worshiping on the front porch of the guy's house. It wasn't great. There was lots of mistakes. But it was just really authentic. And that was the first time that I felt the presence of God. And it kind of hit me like a truck. He took my depression away just like that. That was really neat. So at that moment, I decided I was just going to give my whole life to God. So I did. I bought some Bibles, and I've been reading and just dedicating everything I do to him. Since then, I've been continuing to do that. And yeah. So I know there's probably someone else in here, statistically, that has depression like I do. And I hope that someday you find your Kim, who just God works through to make your life so much better without even knowing it, because I'm sure Kim doesn't realize what the kind of effect she had because of what she's doing right now. She had no idea. But it was incredible. So I hope that someday you all find your Kim. But until then, if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm sure you know how to find me. And if not, you know somebody who does. It's my story.
It's my favorite part of family night, that right there.
I've been told a couple of times I'm the most awkward kid ever, so sorry. So this past weekend on Sunday, I was baptized, which was
And for those of you that were there, I gave a really nice speech. It was from my heart. And afterwards, Travis goes, "Will you talk about it on Tuesday?" To which I said, "Maybe." But here I am, and I'm not going to give the whole speech, but like 2 years ago, a major thing happened in my life, and my heart was broke. I didn't know where to go, and I'd cut everyone out of my life that I even cared about. I didn't want to deal with anyone anymore. I only cared about my mom, brother, sister, and stepdad. And eventually, God was like, "That's not good enough. I need you to love people again." So he brought my dad back to me, and we finally made a connection again. Followed by him putting a Bible underneath my bed, randomly that I found. And I started reading it, and I started crying because Christ was the ultimate gift that could be given to me. After I read it, I started becoming more affiliated with CCH, and I realized that the longer that I was in it, the happier I was. So I want to thank you guys for this journey over the past couple of years and getting me to where I am today. So thank you.
Hey Tim, can you mute me please?
Lane. Y'all hear me? Hey, what's up? So I got a little story about some miracles that happened this summer. On July 25th, my brother and I were moving a sailboat, not by water or anything, just on land. And sailboat's got a big mast, a big metal thing sticking out. And for some reason, we thought it'd be a good idea to run it into a power line. 7,000 volts later, we were both technically dead. And through God's miracle, we were where we were at. We were at my brother's house moving up, and no one was supposed to be there. It was supposed to be me and my brother. But luckily, my mom was there, and my sister-in-law was there, who were both nurses. So they were able to do CPR on us, and also just everything that happened, just like God was like there every step of the way. I have two brothers, so two of us got electrocuted and another one was there, and he was able to call the cops. And luckily there's volunteer fire department was right down the street, 5 minutes away, which happened to be one of my friends from high school. So he got there pretty quick and started doing CPR on me and started getting me hooked up to those fun little shocky thingies. So I guess got shocked twice by that, and then I got a heartbeat again, which was pretty great. And I don't remember any of this. I have like 2 weeks of my memories gone, but this is everything that everyone's told me. And so while that's happening, my brother is also getting hooked up and getting shocked. And then after that, we got to take some pretty fancy helicopter rides to South Bend. And then we got to go to Fort Wayne, so we got 2 helicopter rides. Wish I could remember them. And as this was happening, as soon as it happened, or as soon as we left, my mom was immediately put something out on Facebook, and then within hours, we had thousands of people praying for us. So we had whole Southwest Michigan had prayer warriors everywhere. And so, yeah, we were supposed to be dead. I think I looked up, we had 20% chance of surviving, and my brother and I are both here, alive and well. I had some bad burns on my feet and hands, and as you can see, they're pretty much healed up. My brother had burns as well, but we were both in the hospital, and he got out in, I think, 4 days, and I got out in 7 days, which is not supposed to happen when you get electrocuted, from what I've heard. So that was just a God miracle that we were able to get out, and he went back to work 2 days after getting out, and then I started college on Zoom, I think, for a week after I got out, and luckily brain still worked. That's what we were kind of worried about. But so whole thing is just a miracle. I ever had any doubt in God, I no longer do, because he kept me here. So that's pretty great. And I have one prayer request. My worst injury is I have a softball-sized bald spot in the back of my head. Feet are healed, hands are healed, and that's about all I got left. I don't know if it's going to grow back or not, so could use some help with that. And I don't know, you guys want to see it? Hold on. Yeah. Oh. That's what I said too. But anyways, tomorrow I get my last thing. I go see, I guess there's something weird in my lungs. I don't really know what's going on. My mom keeps track of it all. But she called me today and said I'm going there tomorrow and they're going to do some scans. And if I pass that test, I guess I'm 100%. So yeah, a month ago I was dead. Now I'm kicking. So thanks for listening to my TED Talk.
I can't top that story. Um, but God's been doing some pretty cool things in my life, especially the last month, for sure, since we've been on campus or however long it's been. And I kind of asked for it, so it's my fault. But so since the mission trip, that was like my all-time high, and unfortunately COVID happened. But I'm not one to read books, but for some reason this summer I wanted to read a lot of books, and for some reason I ended up reading 11 books. But anyways, yeah, and there I got into some Francis Chan, some hard-hitting books that really make you question a lot of things in your life, and kind of want to make amends to those, and I just started watching a lot of sermons in my evening times, which was really cool. And it was like the highlight of my day was the evening time I got. Look forward to it every day. I was like, man, can't wait. This day's almost over. Almost done with work. Man, can't wait to get home and turn on some Francis Chan. Can't wait to feel convicted. Yeah, man, I love feeling convicted. That's awesome. So, yeah, I just, over the summer, just the conversations I've had with people and the things that I got to read and analyzing how God's been moving in people's lives just got me pumped for this year. And I was praying for a lot of boldness in my faith, and that God would transform my life. And man, did he pretty quickly once we got back here on campus. So I had been running for 5.5 years. It's a big part of my identity, who I am. And for some reason, God's like, you need to stop. And I didn't know it yet, but like on a couple of runs, I actually heard God say, let go. And at the time, I didn't know it. I heard it twice. And well, come a week later, just out on our normal run, normal workout, and all of a sudden, I just like broke down. God just broke me. Emotionally and like mentally, I just like broke down to the point like I cried a couple times, which is weird. Don't know why, but insane. And I tried to fight God on it. I really did. I talked to a lot of people. I was like heavily considering like just giving it up, and I was like, nah, I'm stupid. I can't do that. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm in the top running group. You know, I'm living with one of my favorite friends who's a runner at the house, and it was like, man, what would people think of me if I just gave it up? And you know, all this hard work that I've done all these years, what would that look like then? But then I thought of all the opportunities that I had been giving up, at least spiritually and ministry-wise, and looking back 10 years from now, what would I regret more? And what's going to have the bigger impact? Because, you know, we could die tomorrow. Like, I could die tomorrow. And what would matter? What would make the biggest impact? And I thought about that a lot. And I still tried to fight God. And man, he likes to put a brick wall right in front of you. And I tried to run through it, literally, and it didn't work. And then I tried to climb over it, and then God just kind of tossed the rope back down. So after a hard decision in my life, like I gave up who I was, a large part of who I was and what I was invested in, and what I considered was super important to me at the time is no longer who I am now, and I haven't regretted it since. And man, God's been doing some amazing things, and I've had some amazing conversations with people that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And I'm just honestly excited for what God is going to call me to sacrifice next. And that made me think of a verse, just like what was going on in my life. And I will pull it up here in a second. Philippians 3, 7 through 10. But whatever were gains to me, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them garbage, that I may gain Christ and be found in him, not having righteousness of my own that comes from the law, but that which is through faith in Christ, the righteousness that comes from God on the basis of faith. I want to know Christ, yes, to know the power of his resurrection and participation in his sufferings, becoming like him in his death. And I now know that that was what was holding me back from doing a lot of things for God and for knowing God deeper. And so I just want to challenge you, like, what do you need to sacrifice in your life that's holding you back from God and pursuing him wholeheartedly and just being, like, passionately in love with him? Thank you.
So, wow, okay, I'm loud. Thank you, Connor, I appreciate it. Yeah, not gonna lie, if I hadn't blown out the Skechers, I would certainly be shaking in them. Those are you who are freshmen, I apologize. Ask me later and I'm happy to explain. Yeah, the fact that I'm sitting up here, I will say, is an argument for if you're not in like a SWAT or a Conquer or a Lift group, you need to be, because let me tell you, if not for the fact that I have 6 guys who would give me an earful on Sunday, because I straight up said a couple days ago that I needed to get up here and do this, I would probably still be sitting behind my computer right now, and it would be great, and I would not be completely a nervous wreck and uncomfortable in this moment. But, yeah, it's awesome. So, tonight's all about, sharing our stories, so I'm going to kind of give you the real fast rundown on mine. So, my parents are sitting right back there. There's the start of my story. Yep. Those two, 5'3", 5'11", 6'4 and a half. Don't ask me how that works. I'm not a biomed. But, flash forward to roughly, 9.5 years ago. And, there's some stuff that happens in between there. Not really that relevant. Grew up in the church, yada yada-ness. It's, grew up on VeggieTales. Summarizes it perfectly. And then you get to about 9.5 years ago when I made the worst decision of my life. And it was a decision that over the next several months and years would lead to me getting completely trapped. I got addicted to pornography and masturbation. Man, those are scary words. But, yeah, and for about 8 years, that decision ruled my life. I was completely trapped in it. There was shame, there was guilt, there was regret, and nothing I did, nothing I could do could get me out of it. I was too scared to say the words, too scared to own up to it. And about a year ago, almost to the day actually, it's like a year and a week or two, I went for a car ride with Ismar and Eli. I don't remember why we went on that car ride. It started on something stupid, arguing about like the best form of potato chip. And like it spiraled into a spiritual conversation from there. And then like somehow Eli was like, dude, you know who we need on this conversation? Ismar. But he's on the stream. That was just for him. But we got in the car, we're driving around, just, grilling each other, yada, yada, going back and forth, what's going on with you, what's going on with you? And finally, we pulled into a church, because we were like, Ismar asked me a question, I was like, I'll answer it when we find this church. And we pull into this church, and on the sign it says, take everything to the Lord and leave it there. I'm like, gee, thanks for the literal sign from God. Could you be a little more on the nose for me? And so I realized, I wasn't going to get away with some half answer, dodge the question, that it was time to just own up to my best friends and say, I have a problem. And as soon as I did, I was totally expecting in my heart, because it's what I had told myself for so long, for for them to be so disgusted with it to just like not want to deal with me ever again, to just cut me off. And instead, they both just kind of looked at me and were like, cool. What can we do to help? Like, we understand where you're coming from. We want to help you. Like, and that first response, like, that genuinely changed my life. And so over the next, like, month, it started a conversation between us and Connor and led to, in the middle of a guys group, Luke Shively threatening to take my phone and send a text to my parents if I didn't do it myself, because I'd been saying for a month I needed to have that conversation. And so, again, argument for accountability. And so I sent that text, and let me tell you, that's a terrifying conversation to walk into. Then again, I'm pretty sure Mom thought I was about to go with, I got someone pregnant because of the text of, Mom, we need to talk, but, you know, whatever. And so I had that conversation with Mom and Dad. I'm like, you know, here's what's going on. Here's what's been going on. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've screwed up. I've lied to you. And, like, in my heart, I was still thinking, like, I would get it if you didn't want to, like, have me as your son. Like, I would understand that. And I love my parents to death, because that was not at all their response. It's much, much more biblical than that, because their prodigal son had returned, and Dad ran. Not literally, he doesn't do that. But he ran with arms open wide and said, I want to help. Like, I got you. I love you, and I want to help you through this. What can I do? And so, like, that just blew me away again. Like, holy smokes. Like, this isn't what I thought it was. And so over the last year, that conversation has spiraled from just one person or me and a couple friends or me and my dad or to, like, there is a growing discussion on campus about porn and masturbation and how, yes, it's a sin, and yeah, it's not good. But there are tools. You are not alone, and you are not disgusting. That is the biggest things to take away from my story.
Hello, everyone. I'm Irene. And I'll give you a little bit of a background. So when throughout high school and coming to Trine, I was the quietest person ever. Like, it's really difficult to get me to say anything besides like a one-word answer. And just like me up here now is just a big transformation as well. And so I'd say like that was like a big transformation for my life just from then to now. And I think like a lot of it was like not wanting to talk, because I felt like nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. Like, there just weren't good conversations going around. And I think I realized that like I needed more, like a more substantial conversation and an intentional conversation. And that's what I've been able to find, like with people from CCH and like through like lift groups and things like that. And then going on the spring break mission trip, it pushed me way far out of my comfort zone as well, and just talking to random people. So I went from talking to people I knew to talking to random people now. And so that kind of goes with what our theme was last year, which was the mission. And so it was like kind of rewarding to find that like I felt like I finally knew what my mission was, like why I was here at Trine. And so there's a lot of talk just from like the guys and the girls on the trip needing a group just for the girls, because they already had one for the guys. Because you have freshman girls group and freshman guys group, but all the upperclassmen are just like, what are we doing? Like, we need something. And so now we are doing a gals group every Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the girls' house. And the theme this year is engage, and Travis has talked a lot about intentionally connecting with others through investing whatever is necessary to impact the love of Jesus. And so we just want to create an hour of like discussion time for that, so that we can invest with one another. And for those like who aren't comfortable with that kind of conversation, like this is your chance to like learn how to have an intentional conversation with those around you. So just want to open that up to all the girls. It starts tomorrow.
Chair. Okay. So, I guess starting off, Lance, I told myself I'm not good at opening myself up to people. So I said, I was kind of sitting there going over things in my head. I said, if Lance goes up, I'm going to go. So thanks, bud. Yeah, past couple months have been kind of rough. Especially, I guess, the past like month and a half. It started back, obviously, for everyone who was here, at the end of last school year when we lost our outdoor track season and everything. And so, I mean, obviously Derek, Lance was there. And I've been running since middle school now. It's been 8 years, I think, at this point. And at the time, like, it happened to everybody. So, like, I kind of walked it off. I mean, there wasn't anything I could do, so I just let it go. Went on, we got sent home from school after that. And then most of the summer kind of went on. I mean, stuff just for a while hadn't been going well. That was kind of where it started now that I look back. We hit summer, and I had been working for a while to get an internship somewhere. And I applied to 3 different places, interviewed, and did a walkthrough, like a tour with one of them. And they said they would get back with us in like 2 weeks because I was one of a handful they were looking at. And as COVID spread more, I never heard back from any of them. So, which again, I mean, there wasn't anything I could do. I kind of just walked it away, but it was just another thing that kind of added on. Most of the summer went on like normal. And it wasn't until later in July and most recently, in the past like month, I ended up getting I got like an infection or something, and it ended up getting a surgery done, and I haven't been able to run for like a month. Today was my first day back, so I was pretty happy about that. Long way to go coming back. About all my summer training kind of went in the trash, but we'll see what happens. That one kind of hit harder because we were coming back in the fall, and it was especially it was a week or so before we came back that I had all that. So I had the start of that, and running has become, because I've done it for so long, it's kind of my stress relief. It's how I get away from things. So it kind of took that away for a month. So it just kind of added even more onto everything else that was going on. Then, 2 days after that was my birthday. And 2 days after that, the girl I've been dating for 3 years broke up with me. So adding those all together kind of hit like a truck at that point. And then after that, it's been kind of a lifelong thing for me. Outside of running, the next biggest thing I've been doing for years, I could go on about it for a while. Military has been a big thing for me with my family. I had a grandfather who was in the Army during Korea, a great uncle who was on the aircraft carrier Franklin when it was hit by the Japanese, and a great grandpa who was in a tank destroyer. Apparently multiple times they were hit, and he was like the only survivor. I grew up with stuff like this, and I don't know why, but it stuck with me. And it kind of led me down the same road. I wanted to be like them. And I spent years, between school, athletics, and I did scouts for years. And in my own mind, I was trying to get myself ready to go into all that. the leadership training through Scouts, the academics. The reason I chose Trine, aside from being able to run here, was the engineering was my jump into the Navy once I started talking to one of their recruiters. And so all those things kind of together. And I've been working on this since, middle school. Like, it's kind of just been a lifelong thing that I've worked towards. Well, right after everything else, right after I had the surgery and everything, I've been talking to the recruiter over the summer, and word comes back that now I need to get an allergy test done. I've had a lifelong allergy to tree nuts, which, the way it's come back now, depending on the results, it may take away the one thing I've worked towards basically my whole life. So it's kind of thrown, after everything else that's happened the past several months, it's kind of thrown a blank slate over everything I was working towards. And I guess being home and everything, like I said, I'm not good about opening up to people. My mom had actually talked to me one day in the car and said, I need to say something to somebody at some point, because I hadn't talked to her, I hadn't talked to other people. She knew it was bothering me. But eventually we got back to school, and I still never said anything. Like, this is the first time I talked about all of this together. People may have known parts of it at different points, but I never really told everybody everything. Just being around people, again, though, helped. Haven't been able to run, but being around the team, that helped. The group of guys, when I went to the hangout with the guys group, like Noah, hanging out with you and the other guys helped a lot. And then I'm gonna throw Travis out now. He texted me a couple days ago, just kind of, actually, a week ago to the day now, because he texted that I hadn't been here in a while. And I hadn't reached out to anybody, and the fact that he'd said something just kind of meant a lot. So I don't know, I guess I just kind of drug myself up here to say something, I guess, since I hadn't been. Yeah, I guess just taking away from it, reach out to somebody if you're having trouble with stuff too. Like, I've got the other habit. I got bad habits for some of this stuff. Like, I don't open up to people, and then I also have a habit of, like, compared to some of what other people have said, like, I don't think of what I've been going through as nearly as big a deal as what other people have, so I undervalue the things. Like, it's important to me, but I don't feel like it's important to other people. So just, like, if you're having trouble with something, reach out to somebody, or, like in Travis's case, like, if you haven't talked to somebody in a while or something, reach out, say something, because you could be helping them a lot.
Hello. I was gonna say my name is Noah, but apparently a few people already know me. Thank you. I think a few people have already stated that it seems like the theme this week is personal stories. So guess what? I got a personal story. Let's see. Where should I start? Maybe October 25th, 1999. No, that's a bit too far. Okay, no. I'll start back in my middle school days. Around 4th grade, 3rd grade time, my parents had a divorce. It was fairly peaceful. Like, it was still hard on me and my sister, but it was peaceful. My mom and dad still at least got along. But that wasn't the big thing that hit me. It was maybe a few months later, actually, no, it wasn't even then, it was actually farther on. So I went through the rest of middle school living with my mother and my sister. I was fine with that. And then my second year of high school, sophomore year, due to money issues, my mom and sister had to live with friends. And because they had two girls, I was not going to live with them, so I stayed with my dad. Pretty good choice, if I would think so. So this is where some of the problems came about. Living with my dad was fun, but for some reason, something kept sticking to me. Every time we would talk about my mom, me being over with her on weekends, I noticed that he wasn't really happy. He would sometimes, it's not trash talk or bad mouth. It was more tamer, but it wasn't very nice talking about my mom occasionally. So that kind of hit me. And then whenever I was with my mom that year, so let me just say this. She's probably watching the stream, so love you. Just like me, she can be sometimes blunt without meaning to. So if I am ever blunt and say something stupid, please don't be mad at me, I don't mean it. But she would sometimes be blunt and say things that would sound like similar about my dad. And just the constant like two sides just kept tearing me apart on the inside. And just due to all that, I had developed a lot of trust issues. It doesn't help that around this time I had a friend who was very, very into what is the real world, not spiritual at all. He would ask me unanswerable questions for like a high schooler or middle schooler on like Christ and God. And for a person who wasn't too in the faith at the time, I mostly went to the church out of obligation. It really hit me hard because of that friend, and I was starting to lose faith around this time. And the two things of not wanting to trust anyone and losing faith, it brought me to a dark place. There was a lot of dark days, a lot of days where I just didn't care what happened to me. I mostly did things out of obligation, not normally out of me wanting to do something for other people or just wanting to interact. I would mostly seclude myself in my room, stay away from connections. Yeah. Well then, I think it was about the end of that year, I started going to church again, this time not necessarily out of obligation, but because I wanted to. And if I want to be honest, it was for a silly reason. I liked a girl who went to that church. Yeah. But through being there, God has a great way of working sometimes. The families there, there was a youth group, and a lot of like the parents were like leaders in that group. And they saw how much that I was being affected, which surprised me because I thought I was pretty good at holding secrets in, but apparently not. Apparently my emotions show much more than I thought they did. But no, they took me in for a lot of the church activities and tried their best to help me. It didn't fully solve my trust issues with people, but it got me closer to where I needed to be. And then I moved on in high school, graduated, and along that time I decided, hey, I want to be a biomedical engineer. Where's a good school for that? Trine? Oh, it's not one of those huge schools. Okay. And it feels like my hometown, Hillsdale, so win-win. My only issue was I was coming here, and I thought for sure, these are a bunch of random people that I don't know. I know how I am with them. I'm probably never going to leave my room other than for classes. And as you can see, that is not the case. So on one of my visit days here, when they had like that big group of all the sort of events and groups that were going on, I so happened to pass by the CCH booth. And sitting in that booth was a freshly shaven Kyle Munger. By the way, he grew back that beard and I had no idea who he was for the rest of that year. But I met him, and he just really wanted to invite me to CCH, to the point where, like, even when I started school that first day, actually, like the root beer kegger night, it's like, he basically, like, asked me and a whole bunch of other guys, hey, go, please. Yeah. So, and then through that, I got more acquainted with CCH. Still wasn't very comfortable with it because, well, a lot of people that I don't trust yet. So I went through that year, going to more and more CCH events, getting more familiar with people. I found myself working on the soundboard with a couple other freshmen and 2 seniors that then graduated. So now there's 3 juniors working on the soundboard. Shameless advertising. But yeah, and just thanks to this family here, I know it's slowly happening, but I'm slowly getting better with interacting with people and trusting people. My faith has been growing since I started going back to church, but here it's just grown exponentially. And I am just so thankful for the group here, for the people here, and not just the seniors from my freshman year or the juniors and sophomores, but everyone, even the freshmen. The freshmen have changed me, this year's freshmen too. Like, all you guys are awesome. All you guys are already, like, connecting with people and doing your darnest to help them. And I really appreciate that. So, yeah. We may clap now.
So I know we've got a few people sitting over here. Yeah, I'm not going to cut you off, but we're starting to run a little short on time, so we're probably not going to have anybody else like add to this area over here. But you guys that are over here to share your stories, we want you to go ahead and share. And but yeah, so probably nobody else go over there for tonight, but we're going to have more opportunities to do this. I just wanted to go ahead and say that, like, if you're like, man, I wanted to share something and I didn't get to share tonight, we'll have more chances to do this here. So you guys go ahead and keep coming. But I wanted to throw that out there before we got to a time of wrapping up here in just a little bit. So.
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, my name's Kaylee. What's up, Connor? So about a week and a half ago, a big group of us, I think it was 9 of us, we went skydiving. Highly recommend going skydiving. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. I'd go again, so if you want to go with somebody, hit me up because I'll be there. But it was just, I wanted to I was going to go do this super fun thing, and I wanted to open the door for God to use that thing in some manner. And so for the 9 of us that went, it really was just a super awesome opportunity for us because I personally felt like, all right, we're going to go jump out of a plane together, and we're all living this same mission of wanting to engage people on campus together. And I was like, man, if we're all willing to jump out of a plane, I'm pretty sure we're all willing to just go wherever God tells us to go. And that's just super cool. And So I just wanted to take this time to encourage you guys to find a group of friends that's willing to take risks with you. Make them fun risks. But then when God tells you to go do something, just be willing to go do it and call on those people that are willing to be there for you. And if you don't have anybody that's willing to do that, I'm also willing to be there for you. So let's go have some fun and engage people.
Oh my gosh. Good evening. My name is Afolabi Anitan, if you don't know me. Hello, guys. Where should I start with this? So, we left school last semester in March 24th, and I got home at like 11 at night, and it started from there. The journey of sleepless nights and waking up at 8 for 8 a.m. online started there. It was a good ending to the semester. My GPA kind of tanked a little bit. Not too bad, maybe like 0.07. It still dropped, but I was kind of sad. Thanks, Jacob, for your help on Calc 1, or Calc 2, I mean. That helped a lot. Going through the summer, it was a pretty fun summer. Enjoyed it. Spent time with family and stuff. Got back to school. So happy to see y'all. That was really fun. It's been a fun 4 weeks, or 3 weeks? 3.5. And, yeah, it's been fun. It's been great. God is good all the time. God is good. Yes, yes. So, let's see. So 2 weeks from last week Thursday, I called my mom like at 6 p.m. after I got back from practice, got to my room, and her voice sounded kind of low, and I was like, what's wrong? She was like, everything's fine, everything's fine. You know how moms are. They try to keep it away from their son, keep to themselves. And I was like, no, something's definitely wrong. So I found out when I got home from school back in March that my sister was pregnant. And I was like, okay, I was not expecting that, but fine. Then I heard the day that I called my mom 2 weeks ago that she was admitted into the hospital before I left for school, which was, I got to school on that Thursday before I started school, and she got in the hospital on like Saturday or Sunday, and my parents didn't tell me. I didn't know at all. Then when I called my mom, she was like, my sister's about to give birth. I'm like, what? Because the baby is supposed to come in October. I'm like, this is kind of early, right? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so is this good news or bad news? And I was just like, I just started crying. I'm a baby, so I was just crying and everything. She was like, am I crying? I'm like, no, I'm a man. But that went on. At like, she told me just call my sister and just pray for her and just wish her that she gives birth safely and her and the baby are fine. And I called my sister. She didn't pick up at first. I was scared. Then she called me back. She didn't give birth yet. And she was like, everything's okay. And I just prayed for her that she was give birth safely and everything's good. I got a call at like 10-ish p.m. that night that my sister gave birth. Thank God. Her and the baby are fine. The baby is 2 months early. It's a girl. She's very small. I got pictures. She's really, really small. But yeah, it's gonna be there, or she's gonna be there for 2 months. So she's not gonna be coming home until October, August 19th, 2020. So I got a little niece now, and I'm an uncle. Uncle at 18 years old. But that's what I want to tell y'all. Thanks.
I'm a little nervous, so, okay. Anyways, my name is Lexi. Like I said, hi. I'm like really super nervous, but shout out to my best friend for encouraging me to come up here. But anyways, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so nervous. Okay. My story started in 2013 when my grandpa passed away. He was my best friend. We did everything together. On Sundays, I don't know if this is what it's called still, but he would take me like window shopping, like $10 was my limit. I always went over, but it's fine. Because like I was the best. But he got really sick with cancer and that just brought my whole mood down. A couple days later, he passed away at our house that we used to live at. My mom didn't want to stay because she was scared that she was going to get haunted or something like that. But we left that night and we didn't go back. Well, we got our stuff and moved out. Well, before that, before he was sick, I believed in God. I went to church a lot with him. And after that, I was really depressed, like really, really depressed, really, really depressed. And I'm not really that smart, so like middle school is kind of hard. And then I got into high school. High school was really bad. I got bullied a lot because of my color, Kids would call me mean names all the time, almost every day. And then I got really super depressed. So, no one knows this but my mom, but I guess I have to share it with you guys. In the school bathroom, I was crying my eyes out. I had enough. I texted my best friend. I told her that I loved her and that, we'll see each other again. So I actually tried to commit suicide in the school bathroom because my life is it's not easy, it's not hard, but being the age that I am, I don't think that I should have to go through as much as I did. So I just thought ending my life would be a better thing. And I always used to cut myself. Thought that would help too. I thought it helped. No one else did. I got, wait, no, I'm going too fast. Sorry. So yeah, I tried to commit suicide in the bathroom. I don't know who told my mother, but she came into the school. Someone actually came into the bathroom and I was laying on the ground. I had slit my wrist. Someone came into the bathroom and I was crying. And they're like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, you can kind of tell. And I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know what my mom was gonna do. I didn't know if she'd be mad, or obviously she'd be sad because I'm her daughter. But she took me to, the hospital and they admitted me in there for seemed like a while. I got out. My best friend was there for me. So also this summer I lost my best friend of 12 years, and that made me really super depressed because she's my best friend. We did everything together, legit everything. You saw me, you saw her, everything. So I started to fade away from God because I was really super depressed and I wanted it to go away. And I prayed every night. I cried almost every night asking, when is it going to stop? When is the pain going to end? And it never really did. So I decided, I got into church. I got baptized last year. Yeah.
Hi all, I'm Larry, I think. So the upperclassmen probably know me well enough, but I'm not really that great at speaking, and most of the time I'm just listening to music. Most of the time I'm just listening to music, and instead of just talking to people. And sometimes music can mean something more than words, I guess. So, spring of 2016 was probably the biggest turning point for my life. It's another story for another time, but so spring 2016 was big turning point. Just the feelings of guilt, shame, stayed around for 3.5, 4 years. Then came to CCH. Things started to look better, but so 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was over in Victoria's room with Josh, Emily, and Victoria. Someone's room, but either way. We listened to a song. Excuse me. Listened to a song, Toby Mac, 21 Years. And, well, just from first listen, I could tell there's a story behind it, but yeah. It made me think of it reminded me of, the event, spring 2016. And so got a little bit sadder from it. But once I actually looked at the story behind it, I went oh. So I went back to felt there was a story that needed to be said. And went back to Victoria's room, had an hour-long conversation, finally told my deep dark secret that I've been hiding for 4 years, 4.5 years. Never thought I'd give that away, but so TLDR, sometimes song can mean something.
We want to sing one more song together here to kind of wrap up our time together. And again, I want to remind us that if you didn't get to share tonight and there are some things that are on your heart, first of all, we have people in here that we can share our stories together alongside one another after this time is over. That's wonderful. We should continue to do that outside of just this moment. But we're also going to have other opportunities throughout the semester, throughout the year, to share God's story with each other here in this space as well. But we're going to sing one more song together because this last song that we have, I think, just really speaks into it's a song we learned last week, but I think it really speaks into how God continues to write stories in our lives so that we can have faith that He is working, that He is moving, even when we don't see it, even when the world feels like maybe it's breaking and things are hard. So we want to end our night inviting God to do something miraculous in our lives, to continue to write that story in our lives. So if you would, let's go ahead and stand together, and we're going to sing one more song together tonight.
Despite of what thank you so much for being here, and everyone who shared. Let's just give one round of applause for those that were so courageous to come up and share. It was touching, and I feel like you can't hear me with that mask. And a couple of things that we want to share with you. Just as we wrap up, one, if you connected with somebody that shared, like, feel free to say something to them afterwards. And we're going to have snacks in the back in the hallway. And actually, New Hope Christian Center from Waterloo has brought Jimmy John's for you guys. To go. And so even if you're not hungry, they brought so many that you can have one and probably take one with you and share with somebody. So just great people. Their youth groups have been here with us as well to take in tonight. And so tell them thank you. A couple things coming up or up and coming, but first check in our app or on the tablets over there. And in the check-in, you have an opportunity, if you did not sign up for SWAT or LIFT, those are our accountability groups. They're starting up this week and next week. We want to encourage you to do that. You heard several people reference them in their lives. We'd love for you to be a part of that. You check in, and we'll get you connected with SWAT and LIFT groups. Something awesome happening this weekend, this Friday night, is our block party. Our block party is going to be awesome. It was epic last year. It is going to be more so epicer this year. And I don't know if we have in here. We don't have up on this graphic, but there are a ton of organizations, fraternities and sororities, that are partnering with us to do this. And so help me out here with the people who know. Different organizations are bringing different food. Yeah, Kappa Sig's doing their mott sticks. Teak's doing pizza. Delta Chi's doing wings. Sigep's bringing their sliders. Fidel's bringing pretzels and hot dogs. And then we're grilling out as well. So there is so much food. But what's so cool about that is all of those organizations are coming together. There's going to be 9 squares. There's going to be cornholes. There's going to be volleyball. There'll be tournaments. There'll be prizes. We want you to come down. We want you to hang out. We want you to have a good time. We also want you to meet new people. We want you to meet the people from all of those other organizations as well. So that's this Friday, 4 to 8 o'clock. And so that will be awesome. There are shirts still on sale over here on your way out. If you're interested in AV and being on the AV team, there's a meeting up at the AV booth right afterwards. And then lastly is that the month of September, we're going to have a giving challenge, a giving opportunity for you. One of the things this fellowship, this family wants to be about is generosity and giving. And so this month, if you go on our app and you give, your money is going to go to help Puerto Rico Relief. And so a student here, his family's from there. He's from Puerto Rico. We're connecting with him and a university there to provide relief for the tropical storm that has come through. And you're going to hear more about that over the next couple of weeks. But if you go onto our app, you'll see student giving / Puerto Rico. And so if you feel, hey, I want to give, I want to be generous, you give to that. At the end of the month, we're going to send a gift and relief there. And you're going to hear more about that as well. But we want to be a family that gives and is generous. So let me just pray to wrap us up. Sound good? All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for tonight. It has been moving. It has been touching. Lord, it has been awesome to see you at work in people's lives. You're writing a story, and there's ups and downs, but God, it is encouraging to hear the hope that we have in you, despite what we're going through. And I pray that over this family. And God, may you be glorified in our life. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Enjoy hanging out. And like I said, there's food out in the hallway.